So as I was scrolling through YouTube at some watches and reviews and so forth, hopefully similar to what you've done today, I came across a watch that I thought, you know what, this could look good in my collection. Didn't have high expectations. It was a budget-friendly watch, and I thought, yeah, the reviews, well, they were too good to be true. And off I went online myself to trusted AliExpress, got it delivered, and boy was I surprised. Although I didn't need a new watch, and I have many divers watches, one in particular that I've purchased, well, a few years ago now, which is my trusted Seiko SKX 007. This particular model has gone up in value a fair bit since I purchased it. It's probably tripled what it's worth, well, what it was worth back then, I should say. I love it, but it doesn't get enough wrist time, and perhaps the reason for that is that, you know, I wanted to look after it, perhaps because I keep changing watches, whatever the case may be. But when I came across this particular watch that I'm going to show you now, I thought, you know what, it looks very similar to the 007, but different. So without further ado, let's open up this lovely box here and see, here's a dead giveaway of what's in there. See what this watch is all about and why I fell in love with it. Okay, let's have a look at this, this lovely watch. Now, first things first, I'm not going to do an unboxing as such. I will show you the box, but it's not an actual unboxing. You know, this looks like an EDC box that you may buy on AliExpress to put all your stuff, but you know, it's cheap, plastic, but you know what, very, very solid and protective. Now, what was quite impressive about this watch when I received it was that when you open it up, I've already unpacked the watch and I've worn it for a few days or a week, whatever it's been. Have a look at all the plastic that it came wrapped in. So you have bubble wrap, you do have the soft cushioning there, bubble wrap, bag, another bag, and then not to mention the watch was wrapped in all these protective layers to protect it from scratching. There's this mumbo jumbo here, the instructions, the warranty card. Although, you know, with this warranty card, I mean, if I had any issues with it, oh geez, I wouldn't be too keen sending it back to China. It did come with a tool, and the tool is there to adjust the links on the bracelet. So if you needed to make it bigger or smaller, which come in handy because I've already adjusted this to suit my wrist. So let's just put this away. I suppose from a protection point of view, hey, I'm going to give credit where it's due. It is a solid case, but it's just not a very watch-worthy one. But perhaps because it is a diver's watch, you know, it's relevant. All right, so first things first, let's have a look at the 007. Now, this video is not about 007, but this is something that the watch reminds me of. Although this particular Steeldive SD1970 is a homage to the Seiko SP-B151, I believe, which is the Captain Willard, which the original one was a 6105. Now, I'm just going to wipe the screen, and voila, there it is. Okay, so side by side, you can have a look at what they look like. And as I mentioned, this is not a comparison between both, but it's just something that reminded me of the Seiko. Now, the fact that this particular Steeldive came in 3 colors, the most popular one is the black, or black and white, as the 007 is here. And that was the one that Captain Willard wore in the movie. And I thought, you know what, I've got a number of watches, including the Seiko and the Invicta that I've got black and white, and I thought I'll try something different, and I went with the blue, and I took the risk, and there are not too many videos about the blue online either. Okay, so let's have a look at first of all, this is, you know, a turtle watch. It does have a lot more body to it, and just out of interest for people out there, I'm just going to do a quick measurement so you can see the width, which on the actual body is, I would say, about 43 mil. The bezel approximately 41. Yeah, that just gives you a bit of an idea of size. And the reason I say the size is that when I first opened up the box, I thought, you know what, this watch does look nice. There's no issues with that. But my concern was that if you look closely at the actual the face, it's small. So even though the watch itself, it's 43, it's 43 or 44 mil. It does wear, the actual watch face does wear pretty small. I mean, even if I compare to the 007, I think the 007, just maybe because those the dial, the dots are basically right against the edges, and the markers are up on the inside of the bezel, as you can see here, versus these are printed on the actual face and there's nothing on the inside. I would have loved to have seen just something in there printed, perhaps like the minutes, but anyway, it is what it is. So it did wear pretty small, I thought, on hand based on the small face. Now, just to give you a bit of specifics, it is 13.5 mil in thickness. It does have a 44 millimeter weight face. It is 200 meters water resistant, or 20 bar, and it is stainless steel with a sapphire crystal, right? So it does have a sapphire crystal. Now, keeping in mind that this is not an expensive watch. I think in Australia from AliExpress is about 115 delivered. Now, that, it's not a cheap watch by any means, but it's definitely not an expensive watch. And value for money, couldn't speak highly enough of it so far. Now, when I received the box, I can tell you that the first thing I thought was that they loaded up with ball bearings or something really, really heavy, because the box was heavy. And this watch does have some weight behind it. It is heavier than the 007, so it does feel solid. Yeah, that's just something that really caught my attention when I opened it up. So if we have a look at the bezel, it is ceramic. It is unidirectional with 120 clicks, and I'll give you a bit of a sample if you haven't heard it before. It is solid. The clicks are very tight. They're very responsive. It almost feels like if you're popping the bubble wrap stuff. Compared to the 007, the 007 has got more of a ball bearing feel to it. There's not, you can feel it, but you can't really hear the clicks. And it's not good or bad, it's just different. Okay, so if you're wondering, this is Seiko Caliber NH35 movement. A very nice movement if you ask me. Just to give you a bit of a close-up of the second-hand sweep there. It is quite smooth. It's not, nothing mind-boggling, but it is quite smooth. It does have an automatic self-winding / mechanical movement, which has got a power reserve of 41 hours. And one thing that I do like about this watch compared to my 007 is that when you unscrew, mind you, if I look at the crown, it's quite well protected in the body, so you won't get too many accidents out of it. So when it's screwed down, so when you unscrew it, there's the closer mic, it is hand winding, which I think it's phenomenal. Well, when I say phenomenal, it's awesome because I love I love winding my watch. It just gives me a bit more satisfaction. Unfortunately, with the 007, you can't hand wind it, and you're finding yourself, shaking it left and right to get the movement wound. So that's a big plus for this one. So if we get a bit, I've got a bit of OCD. Let me move this back to the 12 o'clock marker. Okay, to have a quick close-up look of the body, it is predominantly satin when it comes to the stainless steel. It does have some polished sections, mainly around the bezel and the outside of the bezel. The rest of it is brushed steel, or like to call satin. Same with the links. They are all, well, they're not polished except for, maybe the sides here, but it is quite sort of a flat looking watch, which I do prefer. It's not too shiny, but as this, the dial, I mean, I don't know if you can see if the camera's doing any justice, but the blue is phenomenal. Like, it looks so good, and I'll put it on hand shortly, but the dial just looks so clean, so elegant. It does have the upgraded clasp on this one, with the, as you can see here, the Steeldive branding and logo there. It's actually on the crown also. So when you pop this lever up, it does have the squeeze on the side to open that up, and that's the sort of the newer of the clasps. So as you can see, the back of the watch, it is a screw down. It does have this printed back on it, which says stainless steel automatic movement, NH35, dive 200 meters by Steeldive, all stainless steel, yada yada yada. That's really good stuff. But the bit that's really, really annoying is the back of that is very, very rough. So much so that when you're wearing it on your hand, at times it can be quite annoying. I'll just show you, well, I'll show you, but I'll let you hear it. It feels like I want to go get some sandpaper or a file to sand it right down just to get rid of the rough patches. I don't know how they've printed this, but you know, step up your game a little bit. I know it's a cheap watch, but nobody wants to have a watch that's so rough. If you have a look at something like a 007, you know, it's also printed there, but it's and it's a little bit embossed, but it's just smooth and it's soft. There's no scratchy feeling like it's going to rip your skin off. So without being too much of a drama queen, I mean, it's not going to rip your skin off, right? Calm down, Sash. But I guess, you know, it isn't very soft. After a while, you forget it's there. But initially, as it's moving, you can hear it. Yeah, that's how rough it is. You can probably sand something down with it. Anyway, let's put it on hand and let's see what the watch looks like. Nice and simple. Look, it sounds worse than it actually feels. I think it's just this little bit here, that little latch that's making that crappy noise, but it is solid. Like, I've seen a few YouTube videos saying how the links of this particular band, you know, are no good. They're hollow. Well, you know, you get what you pay for, but to me, it feels very, very solid, and I'm happy with it. And the only thing I'll change it for is just for a bit of a different look, and go with, say, a blue NATO or rubber strap, or even perhaps a grey NATO strap. So anyway, here it is. That's what it looks like. I think it's a nice timepiece. It looks, in my opinion, quite nice, quite elegant. I love the sweep on it. It's pretty clean. It's got an anti-reflective coating on the sapphire crystal. It does get a bit smudgy at times, but you know what? One thing that actually it's worth pointing out that I thought is on the black, the Steeldive logo looked like it's not very, very obvious and didn't stand out. And I can tell you that in the blue as well, it sort of blends in and disappears in the background. And it doesn't say, hey, I'm a Steeldive, and if it does, well, I don't really care, because I like to watch and I love wearing it. So I suppose to wind up on the close-up, I love it, I enjoy it, I wear it every day. I think it's a great looking watch, definitely value for money. It probably, you know, I probably prefer wearing this over some of my more expensive watches, and I do like the bulk of it. I do like the shape, the turtle shape. There's everything. There's nothing that I can really fault except for the rough back on it, to be honest with you. The lume on it is phenomenal. There are many videos online. I mean, I can try and do a quick shot now. As you can see, it is two colors. It's got a bit of a bluer tint on the bezel and more of a green on the inside, but I'll tell you what, it does not take much for this lume to kick in. You know, I could be wearing this outside for, you know, only 10-15 minutes, and by the time you come inside, even on a you know, during the day, They light up like you wouldn't believe, and it lasts for a long time. So I like it. It does its job and it does it very well. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I haven't bored you to death, but this is a watch that I've been wearing daily since I got it. So much so that it gets 100% wrist time that I don't actually want to take it off. And it's probably one of my cheapest watches, yet one of my favorite watches at the same time, which sort of says, you know, price isn't everything. As I mentioned previously, it's a well-weighted watch. It feels good, it feels solid, it doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't look cheap, and I love the color, and I'm glad I picked the color. As you may be aware, they come in, I think, black, green, and blue. And there's so many black ones out there that remind me of the 007 that I opted in for the blue, and I don't regret it a bit, because the sundial on it, the sunburst I should say, is just phenomenal. Beautiful watch, highly recommended. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Sash, and this is ST Reviews. Goodbye.